What is that which makes people depressed or even make them commit suicide? According to the American Academy of Suicidology, about two-thirds of people who commit suicide are depressed at the time of their death, and the risk of suicide is about 20 times greater among people with major depression. Depression is a common and serious medical illness that negatively affects how you feel, the way you think, and how you act. Depression causes feelings of sadness and/or loss of interest in activities once enjoyed. 1 in 6 people, 16.6%, will experience depression at some time in their life. But what causes it? There are many researchers who believe that an imbalance in serotonin levels, which is one of the happiness hormones neurotransmitters, together with endorphins, dopamine, and oxytocin, may influence mood in a way that leads to depression. Levels of happiness hormones are influenced by genetics, environmental factors, and lifestyle. However, there is one trait of depressed people that almost no one notices, and I've discovered it recently while looking for proofs to prove or disprove astrology. I've analyzed birth charts of famous people who committed suicides during 20th and 21st century and suffered from depression. Data was obtained from a site astroteam.com, and only those whose time of birth was known were analyzed. An interesting pattern that I've discovered in their birth charts led me to a conclusion that all of these people were extremely emotional, and probably their emotions were suffocated when depression was developed. What is this pattern I'm talking about? I'll demonstrate it on examples further in this video, but in general, majority of these celebrities had planets placed in constellations of Scorpio under its associated 8th house, plus planets in Cancer under its associated 4th house. Here you can see the list. Of 29 analyzed famous people who committed suicide, 18 of them had planets in both Scorpio 8th house and Cancer 4th house. 9 of them had planets in just one of these two signs, while only 2 of them didn't follow this pattern whatsoever. 2 signs out of 12 is 16.6%. Order of magnitude of how many people suffer from depression at least once during their lifetime, according to scientific studies. That's an interesting match, don't you think? This is by no means a signal that every Scorpio Cancer person will commit suicide or even be depressed. It's just a signal that these two signs, which are highly emotional according to astrology theory, might be more likely to feel futility and heaviness of everyday life under certain environmental factors, lifestyle, and genetics. Unlike third emotional sign, which is Pisces, those two are not blessed with dreamy and optimistic view of life that Pisces have. Now let me try to prove this hypothesis on examples I gathered. Let's start with Kurt Cobain, who was the lead singer, guitarist, and songwriter of the grunge band Nirvana. He used shotgun to kill himself. Had Mars and Neptune in Scorpio, Moon and Jupiter in Cancer. Next is Robin Williams. He was an American actor and comedian. Confirmed suicide, died of asphyxia due to hanging. Ascendant in Scorpio, Mars and Uranus in the 8th house. Sun, Mars, and Uranus all in Cancer. Chester Bennington was best known as the lead vocalist for Linkin Park. Death was ruled a suicide by hanging. Had Ascendant and Uranus in Scorpio, Mars in the 8th house, Mars and Saturn in Cancer, Sun, Mercury, and Venus in the 4th house. Michel Gauquelin was psychologist and statistician, tried to establish astrology as a science, best known for his work on so-called Mars effect in astrology. Committed suicide on May 20th, 1991 in Paris. Had Sun and Mercury in Scorpio, Sun, Mercury and Moon in the 4th house, Mars and Pluto in Cancer. Hunter Stockton Thompson was an American journalist and author and the founder of the Gonzo journalism movement. Committed suicide at the age of 67. Again, Mars in Scorpio, also in the 8th house together with Moon, Sun and Pluto in Cancer. Jonathan Brandis was an American actor. Hanged himself in the hallway of his LA apartment building. Ascendant and Uranus in Scorpio, Mars in the 8th house and also in Cancer alongside Saturn. Anthony Bourdain was an American celebrity chef, author, and travel documentarian who starred in programs focusing on the exploration of international culture, cuisine, and the human condition. Was found dead of an apparent suicide by hanging in his room at La Chambard Hotel in Kaisersberg. Saturn in Scorpio and the 4th house, Mars in the 8th house, Sun in Cancer. Bob Welch was an American musician who was a member of Fleetwood Mac from 1971 to 1974, was found by his wife with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the chest. Venus, Mercury, Pluto, and Sun all in the 8th house. Moon and Saturn in Cancer. Danielle Calbert was a French author, poet, and journalist. Died by suicide on her birthday in a hotel in Paris. Mercury, Sun, Pluto, and Mars in the 8th house. Mercury in Cancer. Nick Drake was an English singer-songwriter known for his acoustic guitar-based songs. Drake died from an overdose of approximately 30 amitriptyline pills, a prescribed antidepressant. Moon in Scorpio, Ascendant Venus and Mercury in Cancer. Phyllis Hyman was an American singer, songwriter, and actress. Died by suicide by overdosing on pentobarbital and sacobarbital in the bedroom of her New York City apartment. Venus and Pluto in the 8th house, Sun and Uranus in Cancer. Margaux Hemingway was an American fashion model and actress. Died from a drug overdose at the age of 42. Saturn in Scorpio, Moon in the 8th house, Jupiter and Uranus in Cancer and the 4th house at the same time. Ernest Hemingway, a winner of the Nobel Prize and the Pulitzer Prize, was an American journalist, novelist, short story writer, and sportsman. He committed suicide in his Ketchum home. Jupiter in Scorpio, Sun and Venus in Cancer, Uranus and Saturn in the 4th house. Diane Arbus was an American photographer. She swallowed a large dose of barbiturates, then she slit her wrists. Jupiter in Scorpio, Neptune in the 8th house, Pluto in Cancer, Mars in the 4th house. Sylvia Plath was an American poet, novelist, and short story writer. Was found dead of carbon monoxide poisoning with her head in the oven. Mercury and Sun in Scorpio, Sun also in the 8th house, only Pluto in Cancer. Carol Landis was an American actress and singer. She committed suicide by barbiturate overdose. Had Neptune and Saturn in the 8th house, Jupiter and Pluto in Cancer. Henry Getz was a French-American surrealist, painter, and engraver. Getz committed suicide by jumping from the 5th floor of the hospital. Venus in Scorpio, Mars and Moon in the 8th house, only Neptune in Cancer. Marilyn Monroe was an American actress, comedian, singer, and model. Marilyn died of a barbiturate overdose. Saturn in Scorpio and the 4th house, Mars and Uranus in the 8th house, Pluto in Cancer. Last but not least, a person that is still alive and hopefully will stay that way, but has at one point during an interview expressed her wish to be dead. I'm talking about famous Elizabeth Woolridge Grant, known professionally as Lana del Rey, which is an American singer and songwriter. During this interview with the New York Times, she said, quote, "I love the idea that it'll all be over. It's just relief, really. I'm scared to die, but I want to die." It was also confirmed that she was suffering from depression and alcohol addiction earlier in her life. By checking her birth chart, we can see influence of Scorpio, the 8th house, and Cancer, just like in previous ones I've shown to you. Her ascendants Saturn and Pluto are in Scorpio, Sun, Mars, and Moon in the 8th house, and Cancer at the same time. What's the conclusion? Highly emotional people tend to be some sort of a fragile receiver of all that negative emotional energy society is throwing at them every day, while most of the time being interested in transcendence as well rather than material world. You can draw a conclusion yourself how this highly materialistic world affects them. Unless they can find people or at least one person who shares their views and emphasizes emotional personality, but also a transcendent goal to live for, They would rather turn to alcohol, drugs, or even die than continue the struggle of waking every day and trying to live through meaningless life. Clearly, being rich, famous, and partying all the time on one hand, or living a simple mundane life on the other hand, is not what makes everyone consider their life worth of living. Though a larger sample is needed to definitely confirm it, the astrological pattern I've discovered studying birth charts of famous people may help us detect those who might be the most susceptible to depression and ideas of suicide. But what's even more important, it may help them to find out their true personality and understand it. Understanding yourself properly is a starting point from where you can fight whatever problem life throws at you and seek your place in the world, aka happiness.